Whose words do you speak? Do you walk them well? Ask your heart, do you know who I am? Do you hear the child who wants to run with the wind? Do you hear the child who wants to run with the wind? Joy, do you know how it
Om Shanti. Good morning. Good morning to the sisters.
Om Shanti, Sister Belinda. Good morning. Good morning, Sister Usha.
Good morning, Sister Fatima. Hello. Good morning, Sister Belinda. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Om Shanti.
So today we're going to speak about how we take all the spiritual knowledge that we have and make it part of our lives. So in the sort of Hindi language, or I'm not quite sure which one, but the word is dharna, which comes from the word dharma. And what's interesting about that, Dharma is also connected to our religion. And, when we say, I religiously go for a walk every morning, or I religiously do something, it means that I do something as part of my life without even thinking about it. So it means it's been integrated into my life. And today we want to talk about how spiritual knowledge is not something that I have as facts, but it's part of an integration. So I remember once there was a lady who's been practicing meditation for some time. And you know how before we would consume any food, we would at least wait a few moments and remember God and eat it. And this lady, quite old, she only has 25% capacity of her lungs. And we were rushing her off to the hospital. But we also realized she hadn't eaten something. So I'm sitting in the back of the car with her, and I've got the sandwich, and I'm saying to her, please eat. And she says, no, wait a minute. I first need to pray. I first need to meditate. And she made me hold the sandwich in the air till she sat for a few moments. And then afterwards, she took a bite of it. And I thought, even in a moment of absolute desperation to consume food, because it was so integrated into herself that I will not eat a morsel until I invoke the Supreme or become peaceful. And so I thought it was a nice way to kind of introduce this idea of what spirituality actually is. It's an integration of what we know into our lifestyles. Over to you, sisters.
As you were talking, the word embody comes into mind, that when you embody something, it becomes such a deep part of you that you don't even think about doing it. But also what was coming into my mind was, in the theater industry, we create plays, but there is a system. We have rehearsals. So each person receives a role. And it's the same thing here with us. We are all playing a part. So everyone receives a role and you play that part. So for 4 weeks, you go home, you learn the lines, but more than anything else, you become that character that you've been given. You have to play that role. And I've seen actors who embody a role so much that long after the play finished, every time you see them, you still see that role that he played. And so the word embody comes into what you were saying. That's what brought up the word to embody something. And that was the example that I wanted to give. Sister Belinda, what are your thoughts?
Very nice analogy there, Sister Fatima. It also brings to mind the word natural. And I think we all would like to do things naturally. It doesn't feel right if it's contrived or it's artificial somehow. And even the example you gave of an actor, he really wants to be that role, because if he can really get into the shoes of that character, then he is regarded as as a proficient or good actor. And so, whose shoes are we trying to get into? Actually, the beauty is that they are our own shoes, our true self, our original nature. So we're not really trying to do something that we're not. But the thing is, we haven't been true to ourselves. And so it takes a while to actually start to feel comfortable in those shoes. And the original nature of each one of us is so beautiful and so divine. But, you know, there's something inside of us that says, no, that can't be me. Yeah, I'm just pretending. But if we approach it from the perspective that actually that's who we really are. You know, yesterday we were talking about remembering. Was it yesterday? I think so.
Mm.
And so we are just remembering in a way who we were before we played all these different roles, who we are when we remove all the roles, and what do we find? And that is the true self. And to feel comfortable in those shoes, to feel that it's absolutely natural. Just as Sister Usha mentioned, that example of taking a moment before consuming something. You know, we want our spiritual personality to be like that, to be the default. At the moment, it's not the default. We might still be defaulting to, you know, the role and what's expected of us, and trying to live out of the expectations of other people. And so our default is not the real self. And so, but practice is important, because practice reminds us, okay, this is what feels right. This is what feels comfortable. And if it's comfortable, then it's my true self. And then it's not only good for me, but it's also good for everyone around me. We may, you know, try to be pleasing others, but actually, if we're not true to ourselves, even that pleasing of others is not real, because it's not based on my own truth.
And the result of that would be that even though I'm so-called doing what is approved and looks right to the world, I'll be such a heavy person. There'll always be like this cloud of heaviness I'm carrying around with me, because I'm actually still acting only. And what was coming to my mind as I was listening to both of you is that, you know, if it's something, it's natural, it shouldn't have to be hard work. So what is the way in which we can translate what I know to be the truth and actually to be the truth? And something that I was like experimenting with, and if any one of you want to try this, it's a very beautiful book written by Anthony Strano called The Man Who Loved Angels. And in the book itself, it's a very beautiful way in which it's almost like an apprentice to become an angel, and angels come to school every day and they taught different things. And the one thing that was taught to the angels is this practice, or those who are to become angels, that I am a soul, I am peace, I am a being of peace. And it's almost like something that you do is that from time to time in your day, instead of saying, I need to be good, I need to be kind, I need to be loving, which can actually be very abstract. But if my practice is to always go back to the original identity that I am this living being inside of this body, and my very nature is to be peaceful, and I exude this peace because I'm a radiant being of peace. As I stay in that awareness and just be comfortable being me, when that comfort reaches, it actually triggers the intrinsic virtues that already exist in me. So it's not about me learning to be good or trying to be better. It's really about taking away the false identification of, like Sister Belinda was saying, sometimes we're trying to please others. But you know, what are people trying to get so that they feel happy? They actually just want to be peaceful. They just want to feel love. Actually, all our needs are exactly the same. So when I return to my authentic self, I'm not even thinking I'm pleasing anybody, but the very authentic nature of myself will become a trigger to bring out the peace in the person in front of me. And so sometimes, you know, what happens is that we actually get annoyed with people who are very happy, because why are they happy all the time? And it's because actually we are yearning for that happiness inside of us. And so we're not really looking at that person and thinking that, why is life always good for them? But we actually, in a sense, disgruntled with ourselves because we can't get it. And we know we would have had it. It's just like in an exam, you knew the answer, but at the appropriate time, you forgot it. So then you're really like, hey, man, I knew it and I didn't do it. And that repentance is what creates agitation and negativity. So I would say that, I always say that it's not a difficult thing. It's just learning to be consistent. And if anything, I feel for myself, I'm a very undisciplined person. In a sense, you won't ever be able to regulate me. I'm very all over the show. For most people, it's very annoying. But what I find is that even with the being so radical, what's happening is that there are certain things that for me, when they resonate, nothing will actually move me away from it. And that's what creates an inner kind of stability. So sometimes there could be a lot of energy outside, which is not kind to me or not good to me, but I can still find a safe space inside of myself that keeps me sane, that keeps me on the target and never makes me lose what it is that I'm really here for. So why I'm saying this is that I know that this world at the moment is very radical. It's very out of control. And you might say, where can we find this in this time and place? But it's really the attention of just turning inside. Know that in you lies everything. Don't look outside to anyone or anything. And even your best friend could deceive you. Not that we must become distrusting. It's just because everybody are faced with challenges. So don't have expectations of anyone. But if you really start making yourself your best friend and turning inward, you'll be amazed at the power that comes out from inside of you.
You know, you've said everything.
I'm so sorry.
Every time I was like, something comes up and I was going to say it and you said it.
I'm so sorry.
But you know what I really liked from what you said is that everything that we need is inside of us. It's in us. And you said another very, very important word. And that word is forgetting. The soul has forgotten its original self. And now we're being reminded of who we really are, that you are actually these very, very good people because the qualities inside the soul are good. And so the other thing that I really liked was when you spoke about the book that Anthony Strano wrote, because also to create better understanding, it's also good to read. especially about the virtues in the soul, and begin to understand the things that are inside of you. You know that little story of the queen who thought she lost her necklace, and
Mm.
all the time it was around her neck? We are in a similar situation because everything that we want, love, peace, happiness, is in us, but we tend to go and try and look for it outside. And this whole thing of Sister Belinda was saying about us trying to please other people is because we want to be accepted. We want to be loved by others. But as you said, we have to love ourselves first. So let's remember that whole thing of forgetting and remembering that we have forgotten our original stage of who we were. And that now that we know, let's go back, but we need to understand it very, very clearly so that it sits in our intellects that we are really these pure souls, peaceful, loving, powerful, and happy people, in that sense. But as you said it all. Thank you so much.
I think it's all of you, the two of you, whatever you were saying, it brought everything up. And so I just kind of threw it back to all of you. But I think this book, I would really say to you, you have to make it a study. This spirituality of ours is a study. It's not a thing that you go to church once a week or pray once a day. It's you have to integrate it, a learning all the time. And the more we bring that into our awareness, and this is not going to be difficult.
I like what you said, Sister Fatima, about the virtues, and but the virtue of courage is also needed to, in a sense, swim against the tide, because people do have expectations of us, of how we should be and how we should respond, and it takes quite a lot to look at life, and look at your life and say, actually, this is what is going to take me back to my own truth. And so let me have the courage to do what actually I know that I need to do. And some people struggle a lot with, for example, saying no to people. And it's one thing to say no out of selfishness, but to say no because, it's not good for you. That takes courage. And because you have to weather the reaction after that. And very often there is a reaction. But this is really about just putting into practice what you know is true for you. And then other things come right.
I know that our time is up, but it reminds me of the story of the fish eagle. And at 30 years in its life, or 40 years in its life, it has to make a very difficult choice. And that is to go up into its nest and take out all its feathers and break its beak and cut its claws and then to actually remake itself. And if it survives that whole journey of regrowth, the fish eagle can live for another 30 years. So it can have a lifespan of 70 years. And I feel that in life, it's always going to be like that, to take out all your feathers, break your beak, cut your talons. You're basically saying, I can't eat, I can't fish, I can't go out because I've really stripped myself of everything. But then you're actually giving yourself a chance to start all over again. And in life, that's what happens. You get ripped from everything. And I remember this experience I had in Guyana. I was standing in front of our center that was burning down. And because I was traveling, everything I possessed was actually in my bag in the house. including my passport. And I remember standing there and watching this house burn down and knowing that everything I own in a country I don't know anybody is gone. And then I had this thought, oh, and now what? Just for a second, I had that thought, and now what? And the next thing that came in was, I am a soul, God is my father, and my home is a soul world. And it's that practice from that book, The Man Who Loved Angels. I've been doing that for a long time. And so in that moment of absolute loss, where I could be completely stranded, I felt so safe, so secure. I didn't realize that actually how powerful it was, that even now when I think about it, when we travel, we carry our favorite things with and the best things, and I had a brand new suitcase, and it was like so many gifts were given to me and everything burnt. And I never, even my family chain that was given to me, which was pure gold. But when I think about whatever the losses were, there's not even one trace of a loss. Because what I gain in that moment of realizing that I have God, I know where I belong and who I am, actually, all of those things are immaterial. So for me, I think when we can be able to get into that inner space, we'll free ourselves, and we can then let go of anything external as well.
Powerful example. Thank you.
Wow.
Well, it's left for you to meditate now, Sister Fatima.
Yes, definitely. Yes. After such nourishing food for thought, let's go into meditation. Okay. Let's just sit back and relax. It's time for us to digest all the ideas that were thrown at us about practice. Now that I know that I am a soul and that I have these valuable qualities in me in the form of virtues, that I embody purity, love, peace, happiness. I am aware that I do not have to go out to look for them. All I have to do is to be grateful and thankful that all of these things that I need are in me, and that I need to emerge them. I want to be loving because I am love to others. I want to be peaceful and to give the gift of peace to others so that they too can feel that peace within themselves. Now that I know that I embody happiness, I want to spread happiness all the time, everywhere where I go, so that it awakens the happiness in others. Practicing to using these qualities is what I see, what I feel that it is something that I need to do, so that as much as I know that I have them, I have to have that awareness at all times that I embody purity, that I am peace, I am love, and that I exude happiness, because my aim is to become an elevated soul, a person who lives by my virtues, a person who gives to others in that way, and thus creating a peaceful atmosphere wherever I go. I am a soul. My Father is the Supreme Soul. He is the ocean of all these qualities that I have. And this is what really makes me happy, to know that I have the same qualities as my Creator. Using them on a daily basis will enlighten me and enlighten others. Using them on a daily basis will spread peace, love, and happiness to others, to the world. And so, as I leave this gathering this morning, I take this with me, that I am a soul and I embody such richness, such quality, that I cannot wait to use it, to share it with others, and so make my day a happy day, and those of others that I meet throughout the day, I will be able to share these qualities with them. Om Shanti.
So today our topic was integration, dharana, inculcation. To be spiritual, spiritual knowledge has to be integrated into my life. I need to be introspective and check and change. With this art of checking and changing, I can integrate spiritual knowledge into daily wisdom to live a life of virtue. I am kind, I am respectful, I am generous, I am cheerful. So have a beautiful day and see you tomorrow. We are now coming to the end of our series. So 2 more days to go. Take